Uh, all right, let's continue. Let me do some screen sharing. All right, let's now do a checking if you understood the lesson before we move to the next one. All right, so true or false, and then you may explain, elaborate your answer, read the item, and then the statement, then judge if the statement is true or false. So let's have first item. Oh, Jason, go. You're raising your hand.
Prejudice is an unfavorable opinion, a feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. True, sir.
That is true. True yan. Oh, number two. Prejudice yun eh. Number two. Let's have... Oting Avery. You miss this classmate of yours for so long. Ting Avery. Read the item, the statement, judge true, whether it is true or false. Avery. Nawala ang connection niya. Oh, let's have Andre, Justin Salunga. Item number 2. Avery lost his connection. Andre. Item 2. Hindi ata clear yung Andre, did not clear. Anyone, item 2, compared to non-prejudiced people. Prejudiced people take less time to categorize others by race. What do you think is the answer here? Karil.
I think the answer is false because some prejudiced people tend to be racist.
Prejudiced people actually prejudiced people are more sensitive to race kaya they practice racism. So yes. Number 3. About item 3. Oh, Chelsea, you're raising your hand.
Women are too emotional is an example of bias.
Oh, yeah.
False?
False. Why? Is that bias?
Hindi po, sir. Prejudice po.
Prejudice. Negative eh. Negative na agad ang treatment. Too emotional. Number 4. Number 4, Luna.
Man is more likely to be hired than a woman is an example of prejudice. False po, sir. Bias po.
Bias. Kasi you're favoring one over the other two groups yan. Bias yan. Now you get the difference. 5. Avery.
Bias is a tendency to favor one person, group, a thing of point of view over another, often in an unfair way. Bias po.
True or false?
Ay, true po.
Yes, kasi may favor eh. Favor one person or group or thing. That is true. Bias yun. Correct. Number 6. Sorry. Number 6. Andre Justin Salunga. Try.
Prejudice simply means to prejudge others.
True or false?
True po.
Correct. True. Prejudging yan. Number 8. Number 7. I think Erica a while ago was raising her hand. Erica. Oh, try Erica.
The Olympic judges are sometimes favoring the athletes from their own countries. The statement is an example of prejudice. Number 7 is true.
Are you sure? Prejudice? You're favoring one, two groups, or two or more groups, and yet you is that prejudice? Who can support the answer of, or who can give another point of view on item 7? Are raising their hand. I cannot see them on this. Wait a minute, huh? There. Karil.
It's false, sir, because it's biased because the Olympic judges are favoring other group po from their own country.
Alright. Basta pag unfair, you like one group over the other, not necessarily naman negative. May negative kang ginagawa to the other group, that is bias. Alright, item 8. Luna, you're raising your hand.
Being biased is not good when making decisions or judgment. True po.
Oh, why? You're correct, true, but why?
Kasi po, sir, you should be fair po, sir. Kapag gumagawa ka po ng decisions or judgments po.
Kasi you're already inclined you may not see other factors or other sides. Other factors, other side that may change or may improve the situation. Kasi nga, inclined ka na sa decision mo to favor one group. Item 9. Sino pang hindi ko natawa? Who else? Jason, you're raising your hand again. Go.
Not serving someone in a restaurant or retail store because of their color of skin or race is an example of prejudice. True, sir. True po.
That is true. Look at that negative treatment, depriving them of their needs. Prejudice yan. Kanya more hostile, more cruel ang prejudice compared to bias. And last item, number 10. Raisam, you're raising your hand. Go.
Prejudice and bias often are the root causes of human conflict po. True po.
True. True. And in fact, African, we will not discuss it, but let me just integrate it. Sayang, sa third quarter din kasi. If we are just on face-to-face, third quarter, we will study the American Dream. No, I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. The African-American slavery in America, no, the revolution there. Ang root niyan, racism, bias, prejudices din. How the white Americans are discriminating the black Americans or what we call the Negros. Kung paano ba, and how they were being deprived, the legal segregation, etc. Sayang but that is supposedly for the third quarter. But anyway, I'm just already integrating it because at least you know. If you have time, try to read that. No, that famous speech in literature by Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream. The root inspiration for that speech, for that notable literary work, was the experience of bias, prejudice, discrimination, rooted in the African-American historical slavery. Sa America yan. Now, bias and prejudices exist in different fields. Almost, it can be in the school environment, gender, male, female. Oftentimes, female are being discriminated. Family relationships. Those who are elder or those who are younger tend to be more preferred. What you call in the Filipino culture, paborito, workplace setup, or what we call, hindi ko na-elaborate yan, but in the negative Filipino culture, what they call the palakasan system, the sip-sipan system, and outside environment, even in church, malls, market, hospitals, because we are sometimes too short-sighted, we tend to fall into this trap of bias, prejudice, and stereotypes. It exists everywhere. Now, let's analyze. Picture analysis. Study the following pictures. try to make a sentence. What is it about? Or simply tell us what the picture is about. No, it can be bias, prejudice. It's up to you. Try to see what is being presented in the picture. Explain. So, for example, the boy won the contest because one of the judges is his father. That's a bias. And this one, the company doesn't hire old employees due to their old ages. That is why these old people are forced to work menial jobs, tricycle driver, cigarette vendor, etc. Because they're being deprived, well, as mentioned, they are not being hired due to their old age. Let's see. How about this one? Anyone? It can be bias, it can be prejudice. It's up to you. Try to interpret. Now, this one is bias pala. Sorry. Why explain? Try to interpret. What is this picture about? What's the idea of bias? Example of bias being presented here in this picture. Anyone? Let me call. Okay, real.
Sir, try ko lang po. In
Yes.
my opinion po, they're not in favor of her religion po or culture. That's why bias po yung sagot dito.
Yes, possible. Actually, there are a lot of possible answers for this situation. Or any other possible answer that is correct. There are a lot of possible answers here. No, walang ano ito. This is a divergent type of Andre Salunga, you're raising your hand. Why? Andre.
Napindot.
Pindot lang. Oh, why don't you try it? Napindot mo na rin.
Yan po, the woman, like the girl got, laugh. Kasi po, dahil po sa niya, appearance din po. Kaya po pwede
Possible.
rin po siyang nabaya.
Or maybe they tend to prefer the other woman compared to her because either this group of male here or circle of friends, they prefer mas gusto nila the other woman who is white, skinnier, an American origin rather than this Indian or Asian, Muslim Asian race of this woman here. That is an example of bias. So those answers are correct. How about this one? This is again a bias. Chelsea.
Hindi po sila favor sa skin color ng babae po.
Possible. Correct. Or that's why they do not want to include her as a friend. Or must prefer nila the other type of people compared to this woman. No? Any other answers? It's up to you kasi how you will put story to this picture. You can put your interpretation for as long as it will qualify. This is open to analysis, open to your creativity. Basta you can support it. You'll see that. Anna? Oh, let's move. Oh, Chelsea. You're raising your... Oh, yes, again, you're raising your...
Pwede rin po, hindi rin po sila favor sa, kasi po pag maitim, di ba po kulot? Maybe hindi po sila favor sa pagiging kulot po niya.
There is an old film here about like this, sex school environment, bias prejudice. Pero kagalingan sa and then the one being experiencing stereotypes, she emerged as a qualifier sa spelling bee. The school, if you can watch it, Aquila and the Bee. I think it's already an old film, but if you have time, try to watch it. If you have access. How about this one? Prejudice. Oh, this one. This is an excerpt from a news. No? Look at it. You have already a clue. No? Pagbabawal sa age discrimination sa pag-apply ng trabaho. Sinulong sa Senado. Oh, what do you think? Explain now. Why is this a form of prejudice or what's happening in the picture? Anyone? Let me call others. So, this one. Alas pala, natawa ko na ngayon lahat. Jason, try.
An example po siya ng prejudice because they're already judging yung age niya po kasi po isip po nila pag matanda, hindi na po pwede magtrabaho, pahingahin na lang po.
Yes. At saka kasi, in the Filipino culture kasi, we have a negative idea kasi, which is partly true, I would say. Pero depende kasi din, no? Sa mindset of the person. They say it's hard to teach old dogs new tricks. That's why old people, it's hard for them to learn new, specialized, updated set of skills. Challenge those your grandfathers or grandparents who are in the far-flung rural barrio areas, no? Who are never exposed to technology. Try to teach them how to use a cell phone. Ay nako. It will take a long time if they are not motivated, if they are not willing. Yung lola ko nga no? Microwave lang. Takot siyang isaksak baka daw sumabog. Something like that. Kanya nga, the companies tend to prefer young people kasi aside from they're youthful, energetic, full of charisma, and they're easy to teach, teachable, and easy to learn. Kaya the negative of that is about those other old people who want to live, to work, men who are willing to learn. So, na-generalize. Nagkakaroon ng barrier of access. That is the issue here. So, there's already a harm. Lalo na what if that old person is the breadwinner of the family. Sila lang yung naghahanap. Next one. Next one, anyone who will try to answer? Raise your hand. Challenge to Filipinos, LGBTQ. Look at the caption. Anyone that we call Luna?
Prejudice po siya, sir, kasi po, ginajudge po siya by gender po, sir.
Oo, no? But, some they will not hire. They will not get persons from LGBTQ. Now, but let me just open a social issue here. Are you familiar dun sa bill? The SOGI bill ba yun? I'm not sure, ha? Kasi I did not focus na a lot of time to read it because I'm not interested. Pero I heard lang na it was shared to me. Sinusulong daw nila, put it in Filipino, this is what was said. Sinusulong daw nila yung karapatan ng LGBT. And to that extent that, for example, LGBTs will have their own comfort rooms. So, hindi na lang male, female. You will have other comfort rooms for them. Are you in favor of that? Agree ba kayo doon? Are you in favor of that? If that bill will become a law, mapapasa yun, then expect. No? Hindi na lang dalawa, baka tatlo na o apat na yung classification of comfort room. So, for every, they want to have that distinct. Are you in favor of that? Tingnan na rin. Meron ba members ng anyone who is a member of the federation? I joke. May miyembro ba ng federasyon dito? Or anyone, even those who are not members of the federation? Your ID, sino ba? It's your idea. Tingnan muna natin. O, Raisa, your idea. Tingnan lang natin. I'm just interested with your opinions. Raisa. I will ask one male and female. Oh, Raisa may. Raisa, cannot hear you.
Sir, ano po yung tanong po ulit?
Are you in favor of that? Yung, kasi the ground daw, the reasons why they're pushing that, kasi nga, because of the discrimination ng LGBT. Kanya nga, they're pushing for the enactment ng batas na yun para maging batas that bill, the SOGI bill. Halimbawa, sa comfort room, no, magiging 4 na, or for every classification, anything na pwedeng i-classify, hindi na lang magiging male and female ang classification. No, magiging 4 na. So, meron na rin para mga CR for the LGBTs, for the gays, and for the lesbian. Ikaw, are you agree with that, Raisa?
Yes po, sir.
Why? Raisa, why?
Kasi po iba-iba po yung pakikitungo po ng lalaki sa mga lesbian po, yung parang ganun po.
Okay, how about let me ask now a male. Lalaki naman. Andre Salunga, your opinion.
Agree na rin.
Agree ka, why?
Para po hindi na rin po sila ma-discriminate ng ibang tao, tsaka po para po matigil na rin po yung pagano po sa kanila. Pag-judge, ganun po.
Alright. Well, personally, this is my stand, just to share my answer. Nung tinanong ako ng isang co-teacher, when a co-teacher of mine asked that question, I am against. I do not agree with the discrimination. The same privileges or rights given to every person must be given to any person regardless of sexual orientation. I mean to say, kung anyone, no, basta qualified naman sila, naipasa, no, they pass, they satisfied the qualification, for example, for work, graduate of ganitong degree, natapos ang ganitong training, wala ka nang pakialam whether boy, girl, male, female, gay, lesbian. If he or she is qualified to work, then give the opportunity. However, with some provisions of the law, yung ilang section niya, I do not agree. Number 1, why would you waste money to build more CR? Huh? Take note, public funds, no? Taxpayers' money. Pera ng government ang gagamitin doon. So instead of allotting CRs, additional buildings, or whatever for them, why not put it to other priorities? Education, healthcare. That is my answer naman on that issue. Bakit? Pag mayroon na sila CR, mababawasan ba yung discrimination sa kanila? Hindi rin naman. You cannot help, you cannot control the attitude of other people. You can only educate them, influence them, but you cannot control their attitude. Kalawa, na I interviewed, and that co-teacher happens to be a member of the federation, bakla, the member of the federation. That teacher na co-teacher ko, di siya agree. Unang-una, mas gusto niya pa rin kahit bakla. Sorry, just to inject some humor. Sabi niya, hindi siya agree. Aside dun sa logically, sayang yung pera paggawa ng CR. That co-teacher of mine does not agree because mas ano pa rin daw, mas maganda pa rin daw na kahit bakla siya, nagsi-CR siya sa mga male. Kasi daw, to use the exact words, quote, mas minsan nakakakita siya ng magandang tanawin sa male CR. Unlike kung kasama niya, mga kapwa niya bakla, walang thrill da. That is what that teacher of mine said. So, bahala siya. No? So, it depende, ha? Depends. What I'm trying to point out here, that's why I raise that issue. Sometimes, yung solution natin, let's try to see if our solution doon sa social issue na yun, like prejudice or bias, is that really the proper solution? Baka hindi naman. Is it just by spending money, building CR? Can you totally eradicate? Maalis mo ba totally the discrimination? I do not think so. So that you must think of better solutions to these issues, no, rather than other. Kaya ko lang binrought up. Next. Now, so complete this statement. Overcoming prejudices and bias. So stop, think, act, na, and respect. So complete this incomplete statement this time. Value step. I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by. So I'll give you a minute to conceptualize your answers, and then one by one I will call you. This is now your key takeaways. I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by. Give me a minute only to conceptualize, and then one by one I will call you to share your answer. Yes, Andre. Now I can see your face. He turned off his camera. Kindly open your cameras, no, when you speak. No, you're being unfair, no. In spite of the poor connection, I'm trying to open mine. Spending on data. Ayun, you have strong connection. PLDT, Converge, whatever.
Sir, ano po yun, sir? Parang sa sarili niyo po yung parang...
Yeah, it's up to you. This is already your key takeaway. You have a lot of possible answers. Can be specific and general, can be creative. Oh, let's start. Let's start. Jason, Esteban, go. Open your cameras now when I call. Oh, read the statement first and then complete it. Go.
I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by simply not prejudging others, accepting who they are regardless by their religion, culture, race, or color.
Okay, it's general answer, but that is almost complete. Good. Next one, no, Raisa.
Wait lang po, sir.
Wait lang daw. And Luna.
I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by accepting other people's point of view.
Okay. Good. Similar. Andre, huwag nang accepting na. The next type student. Andre. Justin Salunga. Open your camera. Come on.
I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by practicing mindfulness.
Oh, wow. What is mindfulness? Andre, what is mindfulness? Uy, Andre. That's a nice idea, but you just want to, what's mindfulness?
Yan po yung yung basic human ability to be fully present, aware, or where are we?
For greater understanding. Next, Mads.
I can avoid or resolve prejudice and bias by teaching other people and myself to be more open and respectful of other people's opinion, perspective, stories, and reality.
All right, now you elaborated the idea of Andre. Chelsea, thank you, Mads. Nice one. Chelsea.
I can avoid or resolve prejudice and bias by stop judging.
By
stop judging.
All right. Sino pa hindi ko natawa? Raisa, you're raising your hand.
I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by taking a course about the study of avoiding or resolving bias and prejudices.
Deeper understanding. There, that is why you have this lesson. O, Karil. Karil.
I can avoid unresolved prejudices and bias by not by treating other fairly and not looking at the downsides of what stereotypes they're commonly referred to.
Not looking at their downside. Oo, yes. Pero just react. That is good. Pero minsan mahina yun. Mahirap din yun, no? Pero kasi we tend to easily see the mistakes of other people. Diba ako as a teacher, I must see the mistakes, the weaknesses of my students so that I know where to help them, where to assist them. Pero depende kasi after seeing the mistake, their downside, what will you do? It's up to you how either you will help them or you will just further drag them down. Pero good idea. Hindi ko tinawag. Did I already call everybody? Just use the raise hand function kung nahalsak ako na kayo. If I failed to call. Kasi, I think, Avery, Vince.
I can avoid or resolve prejudices and bias by being fair to others.
Being fair to them. That is giving what is. All right, correct. I think I already called everybody that is present. I don't know for those who lost their connection. No, if my screen is updated. Okay. Now, so that ends the lesson. Please try to apply what you have said. And be aware of your stereotypes and be mindful of how you deal other people. Again, same routine for your final task. Those who have the means, go use MS Word, Google Docs. For those who do not have the electronic means, answer it on a paper, picture ninyo, take a photo of it, upload it in a Google Classroom. What is it? Activity C, pages 6 to 7 of your last. You will just compose 3 stanza poem that shares your feelings about prejudices and bias. Tatlo lang, just 3. Can be simple. No need to write another. It's like, what do you think about bias and prejudices? Can include lessons, moral on that. Then just read the background of it. Actually, it is that the 2 lessons are just simple. Just read. Now, try to answer them, but I will no longer require you to upload your work. This is just your guide. And like that, I'm requiring you to upload it. Now, this will just be your guide for the next lesson. At least you have already answers. Take a picture of your work. I do not upload it anymore because I will check it during the discussion. Okay. Questions?
None, sir.
None, sir.
Okay, thank you for listening. No more questions. Is everything clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Be safe, be safe. Please, be mindful, kasi the situation is really serious. Yes, I am praying for the safety of your families and everyone. Kasi mahirap, Kanya yung sinasabi nila that you treat someone, wag mong titreat ka ngayon doon at huwag mo na silang ilabas. It's a way of caring. But if you really love some of your friends, encourage them to go outside, to mingle, to hug, to kiss, to talk to anyone they can see, especially in the top barangays with higher COVID. Ayan. Luwal nyo labangan tama COVID. That's the joke. Pero if you're, that's, but if you really care for them, just encourage them to stay at home. Online na muna kayo. Online na muna, chat na muna, video call na muna. Hindi naman kayo mamamatay. You will not die if you will not see one another. there is still next year. There are still some years na college years na senior high school years. Malay ninyo, no? You will stay at Santo Domingo until it will have its own college and university. No? So you will not miss one another. Be safe. Na. By the way, Karel, what's that? Na? What's that scandal at your background? I can see. Oh,
Sir,
I saw
sorry
that.
po, I
I
was
saw that.
trying different background
Is that your
filters.
collection?
No, sir. I just saw it here po in the background filters. I didn't set it up
Oh,
po.
your sources of fantasy, ne? I can see that. Nino rin, who the hell are those, ne? Anyway, yung iba, ano. All right, ne, congratulations for the third quarter. I give high grades. For the second quarter, I give good grades sa inyo. I hope you can maintain that for the third quarter. Oh, sige na. I would not take so much of your time. Bye-bye. God bless.
Thank you,
Good day
sir.
po,
Good day
sir.
po.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
po.
teaching us, sir.